Alex, wake up! I don't like this! Oh. Yeah, I don't like this already.
Don't worry, this one's actually
wait a second.
probably the least.
Get the heck out of here, GeForce Experience in-game overlay. Hello and welcome to the Kitty Horrorshow, Haunted Cities Volume 4, part of this month's Halloween extravaganza. I am your host slash unfortunate victim as my psychological torture advisor, Nick.
That's me.
Guides me through whatever
yeah.
the f this is. Nah, cut that out. Beep over me saying that.
Alright.
It's funnier that way.
I'm also
I'm gonna
the
try
editor in this time.
Yeah, Nick's
so
also editing at this time.
Instructions.
Good old-fashioned commentating to the editor who's actually in the call with me while I record this.
Oh my.
I don't know what I'm getting myself into, and I already don't like it.
Yep, just was. We are on one side of the exclusion wall, and pretty much every game you can sprint in.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Is there something chasing me?
That there are no monsters.
That didn't sound like no monsters.
No, that was just the car.
What car?
The car outside of my apartment.
Really?
Oh, probably.
Oh, I heard something that sounded like an unfortunate thing in game. Okay. Yeah, so I'm a stalker. Welcome to the new stalker game. This is the Exclusion Zone. Based on local historical records and the architecture of the region, we are confident that it was a religious structure of some kind. However, its arrangement and composition are unlike any similar religious structures of the era or territory, despite superficial architectural similarities. Previous examination teams have failed to recover any furnishings, artifacts, devices, etc. that would expressly describe the henceforth temple's purpose, and while local accounts, examinations of ambient radiation patterns, and simple visual observations of the surrounding countryside leave it beyond question that the temple was the epicenter of the devastation, we remain entirely ignorant as to how it was that the disaster came to pass. This remains the chief objective of all examination teams dispatched to the Exclusion Zone.
And so we learned that we're a part of an examination team here to investigate this, what appears to be a temple.
Okay. So, I'm submitting my 2 weeks notice. I quit. Oh.
Oh wait, that means we have 2 weeks of exploration still to go, so let's get cracking.
Screw labor laws. I'm not doing this. I'm submitting my 0 minutes notice. I'm out of here. Peace.
I mean, 2 weeks is just a formality. If you ever want to quit, you can just quit in pretty much every job unless it's contracted.
Yeah. Even then you can. You just probably really shouldn't.
Yeah.
The swooping asymmetrical fins of the forward sheltered area have something of a mystery to previous examination teams. Their shape and positioning perfectly enables them to gather moisture from the air on balmy days, back when the climate of the area had not been irreparably changed, and such days were still possible, which is then channeled into the shallow reflecting pools set into the floor in order that they be kept filled with water. However, this almost artistic asymmetry is not present in any other part of the structure, and such a break in uniformity is in stark contrast to many of the fundamental religious tenets of the surrounding area. Plainly, it seems an ornamental indulgence that makes no sense to us, given what little we know about those who might have occupied this place. One examiner discovered deep channels between the stones at the bottom of the pool which seemed to run downward some distance but were too narrow and solid to be inspected further. Theories suggesting some manner of sieve, a mechanism for gathering and storing potable water, or possibly even a cooling system for subterranean parts of the structure, as yet undiscovered. Future examination teams may be dispatched with equipment suited to further exploration of these possibilities.
It's a cool little area when you get to see it in action.
I don't want to see it in action.
No, we saw it in action in the background behind the text when the pillars were standing up and turning with the soft glow. It was actually very pretty.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Whenever we do a jump cut to the report, be sure to look behind the text and you get to see kind of a vision into the past of what it used to have been like.
All right, so what I'm seeing here is a classic CRTV displaying cuneiform. Yep. That's definitely something.
Let's go up those stairs and then to the right.
Up those stairs and to the right. Got it. That's just radiation noises.
Seem to get stronger as we go up and towards the center of the area.
Alex, wake up! I don't like this. Oh. The Overlook, for a mercy, is one feature of the temple which can at least partially explained. Which can be at least partially explained. Were it not for the exclusion wall, the Overlook would provide a grandiose view of the nearby lake, which is a feature of the temple shares with all similar structures of the region. All are built in proximity to an inland body of water, generally at elevation, and all feature an overlook of similar construction extending from the main structure and pointing toward aforementioned body. This is of some interest to us because we have at least some evidence to suggest that the temple was built with the specific purpose of performing whatever unique machinations precipitated the disaster, thus making the construction of an overlook something of a concession. If the temple's original purpose was not the practice of local religion, then the overlook would be superfluous. It is possible that some of the temple's residents maintained their old beliefs and therefore necessitated the overlook's construction, which opens the possibility that the temple's purpose is not entirely religious after all. It has also been suggested that it was meant merely as a prop, a visual misdirection intended to convince locals from a distance that all atop the lakeside hill was normal, and that nothing untoward was being conducted. Some of us find this possibility to be somewhat cynical, but it cannot be ruled out. Yeah. Okay. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
I love these arches.
I'm really expecting, like, the Eye of Sauron to just flame into being. Alright, do you want me to go further that way, or, like, where do you want me to go now?
If you want to go out and look over the overlook and see how the spines kind of, like, curl, it's pretty cool.
I'm not gonna let anything get the jump on me.
So, falling from any height in any of these games is totally acceptable. I wouldn't jump though, but
yeah, I don't like any of this.
Let's go back and let's examine something more peaceful. Say the garden out and back.
Yeah, the white purgatory I'm currently stuck in stands in stark contrast to whatever this is.
Down there to the right, you can kind of see little white dots. Let's jump down over there.
Yeah, I'm comfy. Okay.
It's a good 360 though.
Thanks. I didn't get the no-scope. Okay. Okay. Calming down. Calming down. Everything's gonna be fine.
You got this. You're doing great.
I really need to make some kind of preface explaining man who judiciously avoids anything vaguely horror adjacent plays horror games.
You're all good. I would point out here that at the top with the precipice, we saw the floating lanterns next to the spines that weren't there when we went to investigate it. And here we see the little flies or lights flying around with the plants and the blue lights, and all of the lanterns are standing up. And when we go back to investigate, we'll see a lot of this has collapsed and is gone. So it's once again, it's cool to see the areas like in operation and out of commission.
I do like the classic red and blue 3D glasses look. It is reasonable to assert that the exterior area to the north of the main structure was a plot of some kind. Many such monstrosities, isolated religious communities of the time, featured similar outdoor areas. Monasteries! I just said monstrosities.
You've got the horror brain going on.
Man, literally anything can scare me right now. It is reasonable to assert that the exterior area to the north of the main structure was a plot of some kind. Many such monasteries and isolated religious communes of the time featured similar outdoor areas used traditionally to cultivate a staple crop that the temple's residents could survive on or use for trade with nearby settlements. However, it remains impossible for us to determine just what was grown here. Soil traces betray no sign of any of the plants indigenous to the area, or indeed any surrounding regions from which seeds might have been imported. Stranger still, radiation of a kind extremely unique to that modest plot can still be found in the soil, suggesting the growth of some kind of radioactive plant with an extraordinary half-life, distinct even from the radiation that filled the area in the wake of the disaster. Absolutely no historical accounts of such a plant exist in any archive throughout the entire peninsula. Consequently, this small area of ground is of great interest to us. Examination teams are encouraged to check the area thoroughly for anything that may provide further information, no matter how seemingly minuscule. Okay. Alright.
Should be good.
Where do you want me to go now?
Let's head down. We're already here. Let's head down those stairs.
Okay. Hello, Arches, my old friend. I'm walking right past you again. Please don't jump out or move anywhere. If you do, I will scream and get out of there. I'm extremely uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Easily the most baffling part of the temple at large is the pair of cairn stones on the shore at the bottom of the steps northwest of the complex. Nearly everything about them seems at odds with the rest of the structure, and with the region itself. They are of a material that eludes identification and which cannot be located anywhere else on the peninsula. Their arrangement, indeed their very presence, suggests a kind of clandestine purpose that would likely be considered paganistic, possibly even heretical, when juxtaposed with the dominant religion of the time and territory. Yet it is obviously too close to the temple to have been kept hidden. The glowing arches lining the stone steps, which lead to the shore, were found to have been constructed after the temple itself, but the cairns themselves, hitherto impossible to date accurately, are highly presumed to have been there for much longer, suggesting a deliberate acknowledgement of the cairns in the arch's construction. Finally, prior examination teams have found traces of a kind of energetic charge in the air around the cairn. Not radioactive, yet with a similar half-life to radiation and distinct from both the fallout of the disaster and the radiation found in the soil of the plots just north of the main structure. While it seems safe to assume the cairns can have had little to do directly with the catastrophe, both their purpose and their existence remain something of a fascination to us. Examination teams are encouraged to check the surrounding area, but are cautioned against protracted proximity, Many examiners who remained in the cairn's immediate presence for more than several minutes began experiencing symptoms similar to a combination of radiation poisoning and etheric plague, with at least one case resulting in death. Well, that's cheery.
It is cheery. Big difference here between what we saw in the past and what we're seeing now is that
I can't hear you. You're really... One second. I don't like any of this. Okay, sorry. It got really loud over by those things, and I couldn't hear you.
It's all good. The main distinction between what we saw in the past and what we see now is that there used to have been more cairns. We only see 2 now, but there were 4 previously, if not more.
It's because there was no one there to cairn for them. When you're scared, just tell a joke.
The front of the facility.
You're saying go to the front of the facility?
However you want to do that. I love climbing on the rocks here just because you can scale up any non-vertical surface. Really mountain goat your way around everywhere.
I just am extremely uncomfortable, so I'm trying not to keep my back to stuff. I'm trying to keep my back to stuff. So that way it's not out in the open. Because despite the fact that you said there were no jump scares, does not make me any less uncomfortable.
It's all good.
Everything's fine. Everything's great. Everything is just honky-dory. Oh, boy. Ooh. Well, this looks like a fine place to have a cult gathering. The Children of the Atom, you say? Ah, yes, I've heard of them.
All the radiation, I would not be surprised.
Yes. The Followers of the Apocalypse, you say? Yes, yeah, makes sense. Oh, there was a war. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, it all resulted from a shortage of bagel toppings? You know, that seemed like something that would happen, yeah? Yeah, that seems plausible. Mm-hmm. Bagels are a staple of the economy. All right. The central chamber beneath the tower would be, by all accounts, the part of the temple used for communal prayer and administrative gatherings. Such is the case with other religious facilities of the region, all of which feature a similar central chamber. However, given the doubt raised as to the actual purpose of the temple, we are disinclined from making such assumptions. One detail that we find most curious regarding the chamber is the fact that not a single one of the examination teams dispatched to the Exclusion Zone has ever recovered any kind of talisman or artifact from within. Nothing so much as a scrap of cloth or particle of ash. While other areas of the temple show clear signs of damage and dilapidation, the interior chamber is immaculate. Almost deliberately so. Scavengers are rarely so delicate in their work, which rules out the possibility of the chamber having simply been picked clean by opportunistic locals. Also curious is the fact that despite its location directly beneath the extremely radioactive tower, the inner chamber is consistently found to be one of the least irradiated areas of the complex. The stone from which the temple is constructed has no particular insulative properties, which makes this something of a mystery to us. We have continued to look into possible causes for this anomaly, but the absolute lack of salvage material has pressed a severe hindrance to our efforts. Nifty. Okay. I can't see anything in here.
Yeah, but if you do go into the center of this room and look up, I think you can see the roof pretty well.
I'll do that. I can barely hear you.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
That?
There used to have been the spinning stuff up there in the design, but it's all been stripped away.
Yep. This isn't creepy at all.
That does leave one last part of the temple to inspect. Radioactive tower at the top.
How do you want me to get up there?
There's a number of ways, just whatever's comfortable.
That does not answer my question at all.
There should be stairs to your right, going around and up.
Okay. Note to examination teams. Note. Note to examination teams. Note to examination teams. Extreme caution advised when approaching main tower of temple complex. Ambient radiation at dangerous levels. Protracted proximity to tower heavily discouraged. Eventual fatalities extremely likely. The tower, being the most obvious centerpiece of the temple structure, is presumed by most of us to be the nucleus of the disaster. Continuing extremes of ambient radiation originating from the tower's apex prevent approach, which has stymied all direct attempts at investigation into the disaster's most probable epicenter, and by extension the entire temple's expressed role in the calamity. This has long frustrated us for obvious reasons. It is exceedingly difficult to piece together the specifics of such a unique event using only secondary sources. Archaeological hints and speculation most believe the answer to everything is waiting there at the tower's highest point. But our curiosities go ever unsatisfied. We have been looking into potential alternative means of inspection, including possible aerial passes, long-range examination from atop the exclusion wall, the training and application of Eastern Gervultures due to their intelligence, manual dexterity, and immunity to most known forms of radiation, and all other options failing, complete demolition of the tower at its base with hope of resultant dispersal or reduction of ambient radiation allowing for approach. Okay, well, that's something.
So guess what we're gonna do?
We're gonna go up.
We're gonna go right up to that baby.
Go up to this thing. No. From the recovered notes of Examiner Saturna, deceased. She was wronged. None of this would have happened had her sisters not wronged her so. She would not have been so lonesome, wouldn't have called out like she did. She'd have kept her old worshippers, the ones who knew how to build her temples and channel her stones, the ones that came from where she came from. She wouldn't have had to call out across the sea to a place she wasn't known. They only tried to love her and honor her here, but our stones are not like her stones, and our air is not like her air. And that's what caused it. That's why it happened. I'm sure of it. She will be vilified once her name is learned, but it was her sisters who broke her up and threw her down. Gods above. It makes me want to cry just thinking about it. How long she must have lain there under the sand, hurting and lonely and angry and not knowing what she did wrong. And now this. So much devastation just because she wanted to be loved, and because they wanted to love her but didn't know how. And now she's alone again, wherever she is. I don't know how to pray to her. I would if I could. Maybe just thinking about how sorry I am for everything she's gone through will be enough. I'm sorry, sister. You deserved better. This was not your fault. Alright, so what did they say about extreme fatality likely? Cool. Am I dead yet?
Nope. Damnation complete.
Yeah, you're barely audible, my friend.
Oh, why is this the case? We had everything set up so perfectly. Oh well. Good news is, we're done. We haven't learned anything new about the structure or the surrounding area. Or have we? Our task now is to return to the bulkhead for extraction.
I don't like any of this. Unhappy. I don't like walking out in the open. I don't like spooky nights. I don't like any of this. I feel very uncomfortable. I feel like there's at least one more thing that's really going to scare me when we get back to the wall.
We'll be fine. Trust me.
That's what they all say. You'll be fine, they said.
Yeah, if there was something, that would be what I said, but I'm not in the habit of lying to you.
Well, as my handler on this particular bout of psychological torture, I trust you. Dangerous levels of radiation detected. Beginning quarantine procedures. Stand by for extraction.